The truth is an abyss. One must, as in a swimming pool, dare to dive from the quivering springboard of trivial everyday experience and sink into the depths, in order later to rise again, to the now doubly illuminated surface of things.
The geological territory of Brownsville, Brooklyn was landlocked, often flooded marshlands that became a dumping ground before its development in the late 19th century. In the 1880s till the 1950s, Brownsville became a Jewish immigrant neighborhood established by Elias Kaplan with the goal to attract Jewish immigrants from the Lower East Side. The neighborhood quickly grew, and yet its residents were among the poorest in the city. But by the 1930s, Jewish populations began to dwindle, and in the 60s replaced by a population of African Americans from the South to work in a garment industry that could not support them. Eventually they comprised over 22% of the overall population. The dynamics of the racial populations manifest two opposite forces: racial animus and integration programs like the Brownsville Boys Club, which designed to create an alliance between the Jews and Black Americans. Despite reconciliation efforts, the remaining Jewish community left Brownsville and moved to Canarsie and the suburbs of Long Island and New Jersey. A New York Times article published in 1974 declared that Brownsville seemed incapable of change. Few public projects had addressed education, health, and vocational training. There had also been a consistent dearth of new or improved housing. Today, though Brownsville has the highest density of project housing of any single neighborhood in America, it has many thriving commercial streets. Ethnically, it is more diverse. But the neighborhood's social problems persist. Brownsville is New York City's most violent neighborhood, and this isn't changing anytime soon. It's one of the few places in Brooklyn where gentrification is nowhere in sight. In the 1890s, the Danish-American journalist Jacob Riis' photographs were a record of social degradation and urban squalor in New York City, triggering reform. Betsy Head, a New York City businesswoman and heiress, was a socially conscious woman who saw that poverty was a crisis. She was particularly interested in the health of children living in the tenement buildings and the city's slums. When she died, she left her daughter $5 as punishment for marrying a construction foreman and donated the rest of her fortune to the city parks, which then used for the site of the Betsy Head Pool Park. Betsy Head Park was first designed and planned by Henry Beaumont Hartz and was completed in 1915. The program included an athletic field, a stadium, public baths and a swimming pool, a playground, a park, and a wading pool with beach. There was also a model farmhouse. In 1935, President Roosevelt created the Works Progress Administration, WPA, as a part of the Great New Deal to create jobs in the Great Depression. The WPA put Americans to work on infrastructure, bridges, roads, dams, as well as public works. The renovation and rebuilding of Betsy Head Park was one such project. In 1934, Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia appointed Robert Moses as the Commissioner of New York City Department of Parks and Recreation. He put 80,000 men to work on 1,700 projects in New York City to feed them. Moses had a special interest recreation of public bath. Architects Imar Embury created a template for the design of all of the city's aquatic centers that included dedicated pools, bleachers, viewing structures, and bathhouses with locker rooms. The Betsy Head Pool among them. The Betsy Head Park was renovated by John Matthew Hutton. But the replacement bathhouse, after it burned down in 1937, was designed in a modern style by Elie Jacques Kahn. Kahn's project later credited as one of the best modern WPA projects in New York City. The park was designated a landmark in 2008. The Rockwell Group was awarded the design of the playground, which was completed in 2016. In general, the park has been a great driving force in the development of the community. Brownsville wouldn't be what it is without the park. And vice versa.